Hey there, welcome back to Nancy's Homestyle Kitchen. My husband loves chorizo. Although I love the flavor, I've never been a fan of the texture. But recently, I figured out I could make homemade chorizo using ground beef or ground pork and with an array of spices that I pretty much already had in my pantry. So let me show you how I make it. The first thing we're gonna start off with is 2 pounds of ground beef. This ground beef I got from one of our local ranchers, so I know that it's a really good quality ground beef. You could use ground pork, or you could also use sausage or ground turkey. So just use what you like and what you have. But to this ground beef, I'm going to add, let me get my notes. Like I said, there's a lot of spices here, but it's pretty much everything you're already gonna have. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of New Mexico Chile Powder. So this may not be one that you have, but if you've gone to your local grocery store and you've gone down the Mexican food or international foods aisle and you've seen they have all the little packs of spices and the corn husks for tamales, in that section they have New Mexico Chile Powder, and that's what I use for all of my Mexican cooking because it is just the best. So I had 2 tablespoons of that. I'm going to have, I gotta make sure I pull everything, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. If you don't have smoked, just use regular, but I like the little smoky notes that the smoked paprika gives it. I need 2 teaspoons of ancho chili powder. So this is kind of one that is new. Obviously, you could see I've hardly used it. And it's a new flavor for me, but I'm really, really liking it. Okay, garlic powder. Yep, a teaspoon. Just sprinkle that on. A teaspoon of Mexican oregano. Now this you can also get in the international foods or the Mexican section in the little plastic containers. I need 2 teaspoons of salt. And let me go down to half a teaspoon of ground cumin. If you're a big fan of cumin, you can add more. But for me, a little cumin goes a long way. So I'm fine with half a teaspoon. A teaspoon of pepper. Okay, and then I need a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. If you don't want it spicy, you can omit this altogether, or you can just pull back on the amount. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and cloves. So there's a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, which are traditional spices in Mexican chorizo. You are going to need vinegar, 2 tablespoons of just white distilled vinegar. And let's do 2 tablespoons of water. Okay, so there's all the liquid ingredients and the spices. The next thing we need to add is some pureed or minced onion and garlic, and let me show you how I do that, because I totally forgot. All right, so I got my food processor out. In here, I have half of a small onion, and now I'm going to put in 2 cloves of garlic. And the reason I'm doing this is I want the onion and the garlic pretty much almost pureed or as small as possible so that it really mixes in to that chorizo and is more of like an accent or a flavoring in lieu of getting chunks of onion when you eat it. So let's put this on, we'll pulse it. And I just want to let it go and get as fine as I can. I'm going to go ahead and scrape down the sides. You could put this in a blender too, or if you don't have a food processor, just chop it as fine as you can. My husband, although he loves chorizo, he doesn't like onions, so that's kind of why I do this too. Okay, that is good enough. You can see almost some of the juices from the onion come out. It's pureed and chopped up so much. Pretty sure my eyes will probably start burning here too. So get a glove, and just one hand is fine, and just get in there and really start mixing it all up. Because all those spices that we put in there, they're all now just kind of sitting on the top layer. So we want to be sure that we get that really well mixed into the meat. It smells really good, and there's just so many different aromas coming out. I mean, you could totally smell the chili powder and the cumin for sure, but then all of a sudden, as I'm mixing, I'm picking up the notes of the cloves and stuff. So, okay, that's all there is to it. It just takes a good minute or so, and it is pretty well incorporated, and it has that nice red color to it. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this glove off, spread out some pieces of plastic wrap so we can form little rolls and wrap them up. All right, I have 4 pieces of plastic wrap spread out on my cutting board here. So they're gonna be about 1/2 pound each because I started with 2 pounds of meat. So what I'm gonna do is just push this meat down in the bowl, and we're just gonna eyeball it. We don't have to weigh it. And so I'm just gonna give it a good karate chop one way, and then the other way, and then scoop it out. Okay, and then I'm just gonna form them into little logs. I think I'm just gonna take the glove off because now I can use the plastic wrap to manipulate this. And since it's just my husband and I, this is just a great amount for a breakfast or whatever we need, 1/2 pound. So it's 1/4 pound each. That's plenty. But just spread out your plastic wrap and then just roll it up. And then I'm gonna twist the ends. And here we have a 1/4 pound serving of chorizo. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other 3. All right, 4 1/4 pound packages of homemade beef chorizo. I just took a zip top bag and labeled it. Now what you want to do is put this in the refrigerator overnight, and then at least 24 hours. And then after that point, you can put it in the freezer. You want that time in the refrigerator so the flavors can marry and it kind of marinate in all the spices and the vinegar, the onions, and everything before it's just frozen and can't do anything. So, all right, you guys, I know this video is short and sweet, but I really wanted to share with you a tip that I've recently learned that I have just loved, and I like doing things where I know more where my food's coming from, what's going in it, and a way to meal prep. If you like this type of content, please hit the like button and consider subscribing, and I will see you next week with another recipe from my kitchen. Okay, I'm done.